Welcome to HDTV. You're now rocking with your boy. Now I gotta give a shout out to Everyday Gaming 98, my boy Christian. Man, he was right. After the first episode of Loki, I was not really impressed, but part two. Episode two was a lot better. It was. It was a lot better. And what it showed is that Owen Wilson, at first I didn't like him, but I like him now. I see why he was casted how he was casted because he's very sarcastically funny and he loves to talk just like Loki does, but he basically loves like the Mrs. Minutes who she looks pretty good, man. I wish I could holler at her real quick, give her some of my minutes. Now, now let's stay focused. When we look at the situation, what it is, Loki is basically brought in to track the other Loki. And the thing about Loki was his strengths is usually his flaws. He talks a lot. He wants to be the center of attention. He wants everybody to believe him when he knows he's deceiving them. And that's what he gets a rise out of. Knowing that he's fooling you and making you feel like he actually cares when he doesn't. But the thing about Loki is Loki at times kind of tricks you, like where he actually does care, but he acts like he doesn't. It depends on the people. After a while, like if you remember on Ragnarok, he was fooling Thor, and then at the end of the day, he tried to double cross Thor. Thor knew he was doing it because Thor's like, dude, I know you. And sometimes what people don't understand is they know you more than you know yourself. And it's the truth. He's very great at master manipulating. Now, the thing about this episode, this is the spoiler review. So if you haven't seen it yet, please do not continue further with this video. Please. Because I don't need you coming back saying, HD, man, what you doing? You can't be doing that. Like, look, man, this how I do it. You either accept it or don't. Now, Loki basically figured out how to track the variant, which is the variant is using places that are about to be destroyed, a massive destruction where everyone is going to die, and they're using that as a cover for their next move. This other Loki is. So he figures it out. So Owen Wilson convinces Miss Minutes, or his name is Morbius, I believe. Mobius, I think that's his name. He basically figures out with Loki how to capture the variant. But see, this is the thing. The variant is 100 steps ahead of them. The variant knows that they're calling it, or the Loki they're calling it, is basically a way ahead of what they're doing. So Owen Wilson will figure it out how to track the Loki, and he goes to Miss Minutes, and Miss Minutes basically tells him, if you fail this mission, I don't know how to help you. Now, what the variant, or the Loki as they call him, was doing, they were basically figuring out a way to cause a rift in all the time, to make the timeline kind of mess up, which messes with time and what order is in. It's like basically if you're in your present time, let's say we're in our present time, and let's say you go to the store, you get hit by a car. It's supposed to happen, you get hit by a car. But with this happening, what it does is it could disintegrate certain things and mess the timeline off where you got hit by a car never really existed. So that messes time up, and that messes up the order of what time is supposed to be. So it's like Back to the Future if you watched it, when Biff, the old Biff, basically left that futuristic time and went back in time, and because he left and basically changed his storyline by giving Biff from the other time in the present time of when Michael J. Fox's parents were together to give him an idea, and his dad ended up dying, and then Biff took his mom and, you know, after his dad died and basically messed the timeline up. So in part 2 of Back to the Future, they were doing everything they can to rewrite the history, which they had to go back in time to stop the time from basically scurrying off of the regular timeline. Now, if you don't understand what I said, then please go back to the Future 2 and watch it, because that is the perfect example. Also, in Avengers Endgame, they did something sort of like that, but it was kind of different. It was the same thing. It actually was the same thing as Back to the Future 2. It was. They basically, time was messed up, so they had to go back and change the time of how things happened to get the stones, and basically use it in their present time to basically bring everybody back. So this is the thing. Once that Loki did that, the present Loki, I'm gonna call him the present Loki because you guys know him. He basically is trying to talk, and this has always been his flaw. He talks so much that he puts himself in a bind. Like, he knows he's the smartest person in the room, but he continues trying to prove he's the smartest person in the room when another person really don't care about that, because it's not about you. Like Loki said, this isn't about you. And you talk too much. You talk way too much because your arrogance is overflowing, because you've been around people who were all brawn and no brain, but they had brains. They just didn't think real deep like you, because to them it's pointless. What's the point of thinking that deep when we're not going anywhere? We're not going to A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. So the Loki basically used, and I just hate it. They just making the black woman look stupid. They making her look masculine. That's the only thing I have a problem with this series. They're making her look butch and making her look like she runs everything, and then she's just a incompetent person because she is over aggressive and she underestimates everybody. Like, she thinks because I'm this big bad black woman, I can do whatever I want. I don't like how they casted her. I don't like how they wrote her character. To me, they're making her look like she's an idiot and a buffoon, and that's the only thing I got a mark against for this series. Now, if you would have kept him with Mobius, it would have went better, because Mobius knows how this guy thinks. He knows how he ticks. He's watched him. He's studied him. He knows everything about him is mischief and lies and manipulation. So when this happens, it's like, man, I could use him against this other one. But the other one is thinking of something bigger. Now, we just saw what she did. It's a she now. Like I said, if you haven't seen it yet, please, if you got this far, I'm sorry for ruining it for you, but I told you this is a spoiler review. Okay? You should have watched it by now. Now, when she sends the little time things, which are used to disintegrate what was there so it doesn't mess with time. That's why they're sent there. She's probably going to use that to continue to mess with other times and mess something up in those times to keep them diverted. I think what she might want to do is kill the timekeepers. I don't think she wants to control them. I think she wants to kill them and destroy that department that controls the timeline. And I think she wants to do that so she can continue doing what her other plan is. I'm just guessing. I'm just painting a picture. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't really care if I be wrong. You guys care. You guys be, oh, you're wrong. Whatever. That's little kid shit. We're grown men, all right? So, my thing is, when she did that, it kind of made you realize, man, this is getting interesting. And I give Christian that. Christian, man, thank you. because at first I did not like this series. I didn't like part one. I don't care if anybody tell me. I didn't really like it. I felt like Owen Wilson is acting like he always acts in movies, but he really grew on me on this episode because he was matching wits, and I like movies like that where it's not all about I'm gonna shoot him up, bang bang. It's matching wits. I'm smarter than you. I'm smarter than you. And it proves when they're going at each other. That's why one of my favorite movies is Finding Forrester. Because the brother man, even though he could play basketball, he was smart as hell. And Forrester realized it. And Forrester was like, man, this guy is intelligent. And he is. And the professor was always upset with him because he was so smart. He never could believe a jock was that smart. And I had a professor just like that when I went to high school in St. Pete. Can't think of his name. He was an arrogant bastard. I could not stand him. He was arrogant. He was a fucking prick. And I wished his ass would have fell down some steps. I know that's wishing bad on somebody. You're not supposed to do that. Fuck him. I don't like that white boy. That pink ass dude. His ass is the same way that Loki is. And those guys are so, and the same guy as on Finding Forrester. He's just like that professor. He always wants to prove that you're not as smart as him or he's more smarter than you. And guess what? That Loki, that woman who came in, she basically just said, you ain't shit. You weak. I'm better than you. And she didn't even have to talk. She just showed you, look what I just did. Bye-bye, and walked off on his ass. Killed his whole swag. She killed his whole swag. I give it 3.5 out of 4 stars. The only reason I take half off is because of how they're depicting the black lady. I do not like how they're depicting the black lady. I do not like her character. They're making her they're making her the buffoon of everybody, while everybody else is just all smart and playing their role. I didn't like that. She's the only piece I don't like. Owen Wilson's growing on me. I took a half off because he's still the same Owen Wilson. He's just being Owen Wilson. Like he is in every movie or any series he's in. But I can't wait till part 3. This is way better than the first episode. It was way better. It wasn't even just action, it was just the wittiness, the investigating thing. I love shows like this that it's not showing, just powers. It's showing intellect. It's showing wittiness. It's showing who's smarter and who's not. And it's showing that sometimes you can be way too smart, but you're really dumb because you lack that humbleness. And that's why it's key to be humble. If you're not humble, then you will overflow with arrogance and you will never know the weaknesses that you possess. And Loki's weakness is he always thinks it's about him. And that's why she said, it's not about you. That was the part I loved when she revealed herself, unveiled who she was, and how she just said, it's not about you, and walked off on his ass. And he went to go follow her. So we're going to see what part 3 do. I can't wait to see it. Thank you for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this. Hit the notification bell to select all to receive upcoming notifications. And if you like what you hear, you can donate to the page by Cash Apping me at the word welcome, the number 2, and then HDIITV. Thank you for listening, and we are out. Daisy!